Welcome to Late Night Legends, where the sands of time have taken us to 1991, the collapse of the Soviet Union, Gulf War I, and the introduction of grunge. Iraq invaded Kuwait, US retaliated with Operation Desert Storm. Saddam Hussein withdrew his troops, setting fire to Kuwaiti oil fields as they retreated. He then suppressed rebellions in southern and northern Iraq, resulting in a humanitarian disaster on the borders of Turkey and Iran. After a failed first attempt, Paul Keating replaced Bob Hawke as Australian Prime Minister. The South Australian government had to bail out the State Bank. The Royal Commission into Aboriginal Deaths in Custody was released. There was a hung jury in the perjury trial of former Queensland Premier Sir Joe Bjelke-Petersen. Sporting highlights of 1991 would probably include trainer Bart Cummins' 9th Melbourne Cup win, cyclist Miguel Indurain winning the first of his 5 consecutive tours, Aussie golfer Ian Baker-Finch's one real moment of glory when he won the British Open, and a 15-year-old Tiger Woods' first title, the US Junior Amateur. In football, there were plenty of firsts. The inaugural Women's World Cup. The Panthers won their first rugby league premiership. The Adelaide Crows played their first season in the AFL, while the Eagles became the first interstate side to contest the Grand Final, the first and only to be played at VFL Park. The National Soccer League had begun in 1977 and had been won by Sydney clubs in 10 of its first 14 seasons. In 1991, however, the Grand Final was an all-Melbourne affair between minor premiers Melbourne, Croatia and South Melbourne, coached by the legendary Hungarian Ferenc Puskás. Let's join commentators Peter G. and John Kosmina.
Hello and welcome to our highlights package of the 1991 Quit National Soccer League Grand Final at Olympic Park in Melbourne. For the first time since the inception of the Top 5 concept, an all-Victorian affair. South Melbourne and Melbourne, Croatia fighting it out for the championship. And what a great game it was. Let's get straight into the action now and cross to Peter G for the team lineups.
So that's the way that they will line up, Melbourne, Croatia. Mark Talach at left back, but he'll work up and down, help out with the midfield and in attack when Melbourne, Croatia are in possession. And Coletta down there on the left wing is also a very dangerous player. Salamidis sweeping behind the defence. The crowd just about all in, which is a good sign. They've heeded all the warnings from the officials to get in early, the crowd here, and terrific that the Victorian Soccer Federation have cancelled all their games today. They played them yesterday so that everybody in the soccer public could get along and support this match. There'll be a lot of support for South Melbourne. So here they are in position. Durakovic sweeping behind the back three. Taliadoris on the right flank there. The midfield, Wade and Peterson. If they are working well together today, South Melbourne will go a long way towards winning this game, and Salakis looking to give Palatsides and Trimboli good service this afternoon. And there's Chris Bambridge as refereed a World Cup final, and the experienced man in the middle in charge of what I think will be a physical game, but an entertaining one, I've got no doubt. South Melbourne get us away, and Peterson just tries out Miller first up. That was obviously a pre-arranged move. David Miller will have a few nerves, I'm sure. South Melbourne did exploit him in a 3-0 victory out at the Croatian Sports Centre at Summers Street back in January. Sure, they'll be trying to put the pressure on him here today. It's Andrew Marth for Melbourne, Croatia, trying to do likewise with McLaren. The performance of the goalkeepers will be interesting. Bruce McLaren, as I said, had a sticky patch midway through the season. Had a few problems with shots bouncing just in front of him. He scooped 2 into his own net, but he knew he would come through that. He did play a blinder against Preston Macedonia, and since then has not looked back. So both keepers have had early touches. Andrew Marth with the headers, had a touch of flu during the week. Says he's thrown that off. He's being tried out in the air early. Hannah says leave it. Shut down very quickly is Salakis. And they will do that, Melbourne, Croatia. At every opportunity, there'll be no space for South Melbourne. And here is this spike that I was hoping wouldn't creep into the game, but it will be physical. Waratifi giving his 6/10th worth. Alan Davidson wants to know what the decision was from referee Bambridge. It's a free kick. Now Peter Salakis might leave this one to Peterson. No quickly taken free kick this week that caught Adelaide last week in the preliminary final. And the referee, as usual, being very pedantic about the placing of the Melbourne-Croatia wall. Ball can be pumped back in by Salakis. And Miller gets down well. That will still a few butterflies for David Miller. John Cosmina, interesting start to the match.
Yes, it has been, and I think it's going to be one of the tightest grand finals we've seen for quite a few years. Both Victorian sides, and it's a big spectacle. It's a big day for Victorian soccer, and I think both teams will want to impress the large support they've got here.
Andrew Marth going on a run. He likes to do that. There's Blair getting the ball away. There was a lot of talk in the press during the week that both teams would come out and attack and it would be an entertaining affair, but there was talk like that before the major semi. There's too much at stake, I think, for caution to be thrown to the wind here. There's Hanna pumping the ball forward for Waratifi. He's backheaded to Kalic. Blair muscling in on him. Milosevic's shot. First of the match. Not really challenging the South Melbourne goal. Branko Milosevic. He'll be looking to put in one of his best games of the season today. Kalic getting up in the air here. Ball coming down to the right foot of Milosevic. Difficult one to get on top of, Cosy.
Yes, it was. The ball was behind him, and you really have to concentrate on getting over the top of it in that situation. And with a couple of players in front of him, and certainly so early in the game, I think he probably tried to rush things a bit. But as you said, Peter, Milosevic hasn't had the impact on the side he did last season, and I think with Ajic back overseas, it probably increased the workload on him physically, and he's struggled a bit with injury this season.
Ball going off Hanna. Trimboli wins the corner. First corner of the match going to South Melbourne. Salakis to take it. The breeze just floating from left to right. So looking to curl it against the breeze away from Keep'em Miller. It's played close to him instead, and I think they're definitely trying out Miller early on. And the ball knocked out of his grasp there by Palatsides, and he's going to get spoken to by referee Bambridge. 42-year-old Chris Bambridge stamping his authority early on.
Yes, I think you'll need to in this situation because, as you mentioned in your pre-match preamble, Peter, Melbourne Croatia are a very physical side. They have a strong physical presence on the park, and the way South Melbourne played against Adelaide City last week, they really mixed it with them physically as well, and there'll be no love lost out there this afternoon, and the longer this game goes on, the more frustrated things could become if no one scores. So Bambridge does have to assert his authority.
Mark Talage, he's a specialist with the long throw. Usually goes to the byline looking for a back header from Kalic or a Waratifi. Kalic is aimed for. Good jump there from Blair. Talage can put it back in. Good pressure put on him. He's won the corner.
Talage should be a big threat for South Melbourne this afternoon. I mean, he was the man responsible for the goal they scored that put South Melbourne in the sudden death situation with Adelaide City last week. He loves to get forward and attack down that right-hand side, and he's a canny soccer player. He thinks about his game. He just doesn't rush forward blindly.
Here's Davidson. He scored once this season, Davo. Milosevic couldn't find Talage. South Melbourne on the break. In space, Salakis. Charging through the middle, Taliadoris goes for Trimboli instead. Hanna. Oh, he's going to be wearing him like a glove today. That was Talage that time back there on Trimboli.
If Trimmers is the man they're going to have to watch out for. He's such a good soccer player. He's got great skill. When he's got the ball and he can turn and run at people, he's ever so dangerous. And the Melbourne Croatia defence are going to have to make sure that Trimmers has got his back to goal all the time.
Now, watch for Wade in the air. They keep it low instead. Davidson only as far as Peterson, though the touchline will win. South Melbourne have it. final, 6.5 minutes old. Not too many free-flowing moves as yet. An early goal for South Melbourne, and I think this game would be an absolute cracker. Good tackle there from Joe Coletta. Oh, beautiful skills to flip it through to Milosevic. Good tackling back from Taliadoris. There's Coletta. Oh, if that one had stayed half a ball's width to the right, he was away and they wouldn't have caught him. There's South Melbourne shutting down Melbourne Croatia early on. And Awaratifi is down. And here it is, the emotions spilling over. And Martin Postecoglou go at it toe-to-toe. Awaratifi still down. I didn't see the incident. We might be able to have it for you off an isolated camera. And there it is. It looks like Mick Peterson there. I think Francis made it look pretty good. And it's a booking. I'd say Peterson's name is in the book. Yes. The Socceroo midfielder. He's not laughing now as he was before the game. And if anyone knows about the cut and thrust of big matches, it's this man. Ferenc Puskas coached 3 Greek championship winning teams, Panathinaikos and AEK Athens, of course, one of the Magic Modjors, captain of the Hungarian national team that was unbeaten for a run of 29 games, played in 3 European Cup finals for Real Madrid, 83 goals and 84 internationals for Hungary. What a record.
It certainly is, and he's one of the most laid-back guys I've ever met.
Biskic, it's too long for Awaratifi. Blair's done well in the air so far. David Healy taking a chance to take a breather. Peterson and Davidson. Perhaps just having the edge. A little bit early perhaps to make a prediction there.
Well, Peterson's had the better of the touches, but it looks like those two are going to battle it out in midfield. And it's going to be interesting to see who comes up stronger at the end of the day. You must remember Davidson has had a problem with a knee injury in recent weeks, and he played that last match 2 weeks ago, probably only 70% fit at the most.
Palatsides working against 2. Slews off Hannah's boot, but plenty of red shirts there. Davidson for Salamides. No, it's Talaj, sorry. 1 for Kelic to chase. Durakovic chasing him. Fine tackle. Really times his challenge as well, Mehmet Durakovic. And he too is in a few problems from that early challenge.
He's going to have his work cut out this afternoon because Kelic is a big, strong runner and he holds the ball up well, and if he has to shadow him all afternoon, he's certainly going to know about it by the end of the day.
Looks a bit distressed, Mehmet Durakovic. Again, the dangerous long throw. Wade looks like he's going to try and blot out that little tactic from Melbourne, Croatia. It's a corner.
If they get enough of those long throws, Peter, sooner or later something's going to come of it. As we saw a little bit earlier on, Joe Coletta was almost in on the back of one of them.
Far post for Coletta. Goal kick. Not a lot else Davidson could have done there. A lot of blue coming straight at him. Just threw his foot at it. Signs that there are a few players out there not 100% fit, but it would have taken a lot to keep them out of this game.
You must remember it's the end of the season, not the beginning as well, and despite what people say, players always carry injuries throughout a season because they love to play, and no, like you said, no one would want to miss out on this game.
Awaratifi has won a throw.
He's certainly not too popular with the South Melbourne fans, though, is he?
Those fans there love him. But it's either love him or hate him with Francis. He's been one of the great additions to the National League, though. Can't ignore him. Marth blasts. Yes! Andrew Marth, a cracking goal. Only his second of the season. What a time to score it. in the 26th minute. Melbourne, Croatia 1-0 up.
It was a great strike by Mark, Peter, but what a soft goal. There's Talachi to throw again, laid back by Biscuits, and a great strike. Actually took a deflection off of Postacoglu by the look of it, wasn't it?
Yes, watch for number 3, Angie Postacoglu, just got a touch.
Deceiving, looks like it went underneath McLaren from there.
A delighted Marth, and I'm sure he was just speculating with the shot.
Despite taking that deflection, McLaren really should have had that covered. He had plenty of time to get down, and the ball did go underneath his arms.
Well, expect the unexpected. I think that might be what...
That'll really change the face of this game now, I think.
Yes, Croatia certainly will grow in stature now. They've got the break here. Kelic can give it back to Milosevic. Ivan Kelic. Play on, says the referee. Davidson chips the keeper. McLaren does well. No protests from the Melbourne Croatia players about the challenge as Kelic went down. Davo picked the right option there, and McLaren knew that that's what he would try with him way out on the edge of the 6-yard box.
South Melbourne are going to have to be careful here that they don't panic and let Melbourne Croatia really stamp their authority and get on top.
Palette's header. Wade gives away the corner. They've really got to knuckle down now, South Melbourne.
Well, Melbourne Croatia, conversely, have lifted the pace. They can sense it now. They've got South Melbourne on the ropes for this short spell, and they're going to try and make the most of it.
Warden's Warriors 1 up. Damage control time for South Melbourne. Waratifi getting in the way of the keeper, and the header from Milosevic with the keeper totally out of the equation there. He was pushing Waratifi out of the way. And Milosevic bouncing the header over the top of the crossbar.
I don't know what McLaren was worrying about a Waratifi there for. The ball was travelling to the back post. That's what he should have been concerned with.
Well, I said I thought an early goal from South Melbourne would make this a classic grand final. By that I meant that Melbourne Croatia then would really have to come at them. I just wonder whether Melbourne Croatia in the lead will be a different prospect, whether they'll just screw down their defence and make it impossible for South Melbourne to get back into the game. We'll see.
Well, they did it 2 weeks ago, Peter, once they took the lead. They really settled things down and concentrated on a slow, fluent build-up. That looks like what they're doing now. South Melbourne, it's interesting. We'll see how they go the next couple of minutes, but they're backing off. They're not attacking the Melbourne Croatia players like they were prior to the goal.
You really have to say that they had the best of the first 25 minutes.
Well, they were certainly looking a bit sharper and looking very committed.
Davidson. Waratifi using his body, shielding the ball well. Spreading it for Biscuits, just a little bit too strong though. Ball coming off Marth's head. Looks just a little bit propping Andrew Marth. Ball was out. His linesman Simonis.
Overruled by the referee there, Peter.
And a fence has collapsed down at the Yarra River end. Police there in numbers to make sure.
Yeah, let's hope there's no problems there and no one's hurt.
Play underway again. Milosevic missed it. Waratifi didn't. But just falling a little bit on the shot, hooked it wide. But shots at goal have been few and far between, about 3 or 4.
Nice free kick there from Biskic, and Waratifi should never have really had that much room at the back post. South Melbourne a little bit rattled, I would say.
They'll be very happy if it's only 1-0 at half-time, or preferably back on even terms. Because Melbourne, Croatia, once they get an early goal, if they get another one, they are just unstoppable.
They're very hard to come back against. That's where that physical strength we've talked about so much in the last fortnight will come into play.
Peterson in a hurry to take this throw. Had to play skipping rope with our mobile camera there. He got over the cord okay. Good ball from Durakovic, but again it was in the air to Trimboli. Waratifi steps out of the Taliadoras challenge. Bit of space here for Josip Biskic on the overlap to Lajic. Postecoglou had to motor to try and cut him down, and he did. Biskic still available. Davidson, now Milosevic. Wade gets in the way of Davidson. Wade doesn't agree with the decision from referee Bambridge, but it's a free kick. Warden obviously signalling what sort of pre-arranged move he wants from this set piece.
As Melbourne Croatia look well versed in their set pieces, and I don't know that much of Kenny Warden, but from what I've heard and what I've seen, he looks like the sort of coach that would drill these set pieces week in, week out. And they're a perfect opportunity. You've got a free shot at the ball. No one's going to tackle you, and they're the best opportunity that you can use to get a shot on target.
Well, Marth scored from here in free play. That one was destined for the goal, but never going to beat the wall. Make that one goal now. The important grand final goal. Against Postecoglou. Biskic almost stepped out of it. He knew the challenge was coming, but just taken out of his stride by Postecoglou. Biskic has had the better of the duels of the skippers. Milosevic, little dummy for Kelic's strike. Comes back to Branko. Milosevic, high. Nice dummy from Milosevic initially. McLaren is the man under siege. Process of becoming a naturalised Australian, Branko Milosevic. You see him here, let the ball go for Kelic.
Yeah, good thinking by Milosevic there, and finds himself in space and
came off Healy actually back to him.
Really should have hit the target there with no pressure.
Trimboli. Salakis lofts it in. There's only one man in a blue shirt there, Palatsides. Wade tries to volley. Ooh, Taliadoras got a good strike. Paletta in the way. And the header wide from Trimboli. George Haney, you see him with that neoprene undershort to keep the damaged groin warm. Has clouded over just a little bit, but a very pleasant day in Melbourne. More pleasant if you're a Melbourne Croatia fan. 40 minutes played in the first half and they lead 1-0. Peterson tried hard to get South Melbourne moving. Biskic spreading it wide for Milosevic. First time cross for a Waratifi. Snaking that neck to try and get some power behind the header. Probably did well in the end to get any of that Gorgon-like head onto the ball. Kellich should have the pace advantage here on Blair, but very experienced Steve Blair, another who times his tackles well. Postacoglu, Trimboli tries to tip it off first time. If they can go in at 1-0 down and no worse at half-time, they can regroup South Melbourne. A lot of time to go in this grand final. Davidson. Chip passes a beauty to Talajic. Awaratifi will be disappointed he didn't put that one on target. McLaren could only parry it to the feet of Francis Awaratifi, and he couldn't, with the ball running across him, get the shot on target. Davidson, delightful chip and hit first time by Mark Talajic, caught McLaren unawares, and Awaratifi normally gobbles those. It would have been a similar goal to the one he scored a fortnight ago when he was the right man in the right time. Puskas, always impassive. You can never tell if his team is ahead or behind by the expression, though. Maybe the eyes a little more bulging than normal. Palacides the target in the air. Nath in the way. Taliadoris no room to move. But fine tackle. First time cross for Trimboli, but look, they're so well organised, Melbourne, Croatia. Milosevic holds onto it even though Biskic is howling for it on his outside. Now the run made by Talajic. Very timely from Steve Blair. Still Melbourne, Croatia. No, the whistle gives a free kick to South Melbourne. To go of regular time in this first half. There will be a little bit of time, one would think, added to the watch of referee Bambridge. Some stoppages in the first quarter of an hour, which was quite spiteful, but they've settled down, and South Melbourne really being forced to concentrate now because they're a goal down. Biskic. All options were closed to him, so he went himself. They're getting back very well, the Melbourne Croatia midfield, to help out the defence. Milosevic will have a bruise to show for it. Into stoppage time. First half. Melbourne Croatia 1-0 up. They'll be quite content with that, I'm sure. A bit of a dive from Biskic, says the referee. Postacoglu. Trimboli looking for the first time touches. Kellich back there. Good strength, Ivan Kellich. He's got the free kick. There are comparisons between Ivan Kellich and Eddie Krenchevic when he came into the league and scored goals at will. Goals dried up for him after that, but he's improved his play immeasurably this year, growing in physical stature. That's why Milosevic just plays the ball out. That was Andrew Marth. Will be a very satisfied man at half-time. Half-time it is, the NSL Grand Final for season 1991. Melbourne, Croatia taking the lead after 25 minutes. Warden's Warriors taking the first step on their war path to the NSL Championship thanks to Andrew Marth's surprise long drive. No one more surprised than Bruce McLaren. Took a little deflection off Angie Postecoglou and went into the net. Certainly David Miller, who just went through the foreground of the shop there, performed very well in the Melbourne-Croatia goal under early pressure. A very physical match for the first 15 minutes. But the smiles on the faces of the Melbourne-Croatia players as they go in at half-time, leading 1-0. Melbourne-Croatia getting the second half underway. No mistakes, and they're through to their first ever NSL Championship. Andrew Marth, the goal scorer. I'm sure there would have been a little bit of light-hearted ribbing of him during the half-time break from his teammates. Hammering in the goal. Everyone expected him to be an enforcer at the back, not a goal scorer. Davidson for a Waratifi. Good pace for a Waratifi, and Blair had to quickly thrust out the right foot. But again, Davidson, a deft little touch, almost opening up South Melbourne. Waratifi, I'm sure, will be wanting to make up for that miss just before half-time. I think Waratifi already thought it was in the net before he struck it. Bitch's corner to Kalich's head, just slewing away for a goal kick. Bruce McLaren, he would have been thinking about that goal as well during the half-time break. But that's all past. The future is in South Melbourne's hands. Davidson putting his body in, giving away the free kick. I did nothing, says Davo, but he was there niggling. Quickly taken free kick. Salakis heading it for Miller, who did everything required of him in that first half. Talage, one of the stars of the first half.
He's had a great first half, Peter. Caused so much trouble down that right-hand side, and Melbourne-Croatia will no doubt be looking for him to get forward again in this half.
Well, here's Coletta. We haven't really seen a lot of these runs down the left. Wade looking to cover him, but he is very dangerous if he gets those legs motoring. His crossing let him down in the major semi, but if he can get one on target, it's going to cause South some problems.
He's been playing very deep, not only in this game, but also in the preliminary final a couple of weeks ago. And I think being used to playing up front, it's a different format for him, coming with the ball in front of him facing the opposition goal. It's hard. You come out of that situation playing as almost an out-and-out striker, then you have to turn around and face the other way. It's a lot more timing involved getting forward.
This time Davidson wins a free kick just outside the area for Melbourne, Croatia.
George Hanna's coming forward as well.
Scored the equalizer back in round one against South Melbourne at Middle Park. He's lurking with Kalich. Blair trying to negate the strength of Melbourne, Croatia in the air. A lot of yelling. Palla, you might have heard. That's to Joe Palatsides, who's on the edge of the wall. McLaren down well, and it just slews off the boot of Kalich and wide.
And I think he's given a free kick there. Is it or no? Goal kick. Did McLaren drop it? Great strike from Marth, and McLaren dropped it, and Kalich knew nothing about it. Didn't have much time to put that one in the net.
No, it would have been an accident, that goal for Kalich.
He wouldn't have complained about it, though.
Kalich has men free if he can find the ball. Healy. Here's Palatsides. Coletta takes him on. Nutmegs Teliadoris. Throwing himself in, Healy. Lovely touch from Davidson for Coletta. Here he is free. It's 3-on-1. Not such a good cross, and Blair able to see enough of it to hack it away.
Well, you were right what you said earlier, Peter, about Coletta's crossing letting him down, because he did ever so well to get in that position in the first place. Beat two players on his own on the halfway line. Great work with Davidson to get free down that line. Let's have a look at the skill involved in this. Lovely touch there, comes inside, the nutmeg. Straight past Taliadoris, a little 1-2 with Davidson, no. Evades attack with Healy, here's the 1-2, and he's away.
Substitution about to be made. Danny Wright, a bit of Queensland blood. He's going to come on to replace David Healy. Healy in the right back position. That's where Danny Wright is heading.
I think Pushkas will be looking for Wright to get forward a lot more than Healy has during the game so far, and contribute more to the attack, obviously.
David Healy just looked a little bit off song today. Usually loves getting up and helping out the attack as Milosevic sets a Waratifi away on the volley. And that should have been a bit closer as well.
Yes, lovely ball forward there, and well over the top. I mean, that's the sort of thing South Melbourne should be looking forward from, bowling the ball beyond the defence. And that was a lovely ball over the top of Blair. Left a Waratifi with yards of space, and high, wide and handsome.
Biskic, placed by Davidson, no, rather Peterson. Davidson's available if he wants him. Uses Talajic though. Keeps it along the deck to Kalic. Cleared off the line. Great effort down there from Durakovic. It was all over if that had gone in from Ivan Kalic. Durakovic has done that so often this season. Been behind his keeper to save the bacon on the line. And that keeps South Melbourne in the final. There you see the cross along the deck. That's the difference.
Yeah, it was a lovely piece of work by Talajic to get in behind the defence in the first place. And let's have a look at this. Good strike by Kalic. Ball's in behind him. He does well to keep it down. Beats McLaren all hands down. And fortunately for South Melbourne, Durakovic on the line to clear.
Salakis. 3-on-3. Taliadoris has nothing on his outside. He looked up and saw no blue shirts and just headed for the touchline.
But that's where he should have turned and come out and released it to someone like Wade coming up from behind to support him, rather than running the ball into a corner.
A little bit of a hold up, some foreign body.
Oh, the referee dropped his notebook. The three guys that booked would have been happy about that if he couldn't have found it.
They would have been hoping they could stop on it, perhaps push it into the turf. Long throw from Postecoglou. Anna gives away the corner. Still hope on South Melbourne's side, if nothing else. 13 minutes remain. Wade comes in, came off the head of Salamides. Peterson keeps it alive. Looking for Salakis. Now on the break, Melbourne, Croatia, Biskic. Wright's coming back to cover him. Waratifi continues through the middle. Biskic wants to do it all. The skipper never had it on target. I suppose that's the danger now for South Melbourne as they push for the equalizer. They could be caught on the break though. I don't know whether there's all that many fit men out there to exploit it at the moment.
Well, it was a good break by Melbourne, Croatia, and Biskic does very well here. He just waits. He can see there's no one in support, silly knocking the ball in, so he sets up Danny Wright, goes outside him, and I mean, obviously he would have preferred that shot to be on target, but going wide as it did, it still wasted a couple of valuable seconds.
South Melbourne throng, the Blue Army, certainly in the trenches at the moment. make something happen for South Melbourne here, or it's just going to be stalemate through to the finish.
Well, I can't see anyone in their side probably, well, now apart from Trimboli that's playing well enough to do it or looks likely to do anything.
Andrew Marth rises like a colossus.
He's a big, strong boy. And
here's a Waratifi. Hard to knock off the ball. He goes for Kellage. He's had one on target this half that was cleared off the line. Couldn't get that one at the goal on the volley. Put it into those adoring fans instead.
It's all one-way traffic now, and a great ball in there by Waratifi, and Kellage trying to volley and unlucky not to get it on target.
Davidson. Peterson takes it away. Chasing back there from all of them, and Marth tries another long-range special. And a little bit of a chuckle on the face of the goal scorer. What a time to score your first goal in a final. Only your second goal of the season. It came after 25 minutes. Melbourne Croatia have dominated since then. Tremendous jump, even at this late stage from Marth. Trimboli works himself into a bit of space. What a ball for Palacides! They're equal! An equaliser from nowhere from South Melbourne. It was Paul Trimboli who conjured it up. A lack of concentration from Melbourne Croatia. The only man not on his feet is Ferenc Puskas, the South coach. And we're heading for extra time. Joe Palacides. Hardly sighted in the last 10 minutes. It was Trimboli who turned Talajic inside out. Marth couldn't shut him down. And Palacides, presence of mind, in the 88th minute, he levels the scores. Little back header there from Taliadoris. Ever alert, eyes up. Trimboli, he had two free, Postecoglou or Palacides. And a delighted Joe Palacides. Looks like sending us into extra time. Buskic. We've played a minute of injury time. Now coming from over on the eastern side of the ground. Peterson's still down up in the other penalty area. Popped one in the nether regions. And the whistle has sounded. Full time. Now the coaches take their players and talk tactics for this extra time period of half an hour. Puskas must have been thinking about consoling his players. Come here, don't go and sit down, he's saying. Joe Palacides. What an equaliser. The psychological advantage now will be with South Melbourne, who took so much punishment. Melbourne Croatia could only score once though. And it just goes to show, no matter how little time is left, it's always enough.
Those Melbourne Croatia players must have felt sick when they saw that equaliser go in the last minute of the game, but really they've only got themselves to blame. They had plenty of opportunities to wrap that game up long before Palacides scored that equaliser. But what a goal it was. Great work by Paul Trimboli, good vision and a good finish by Palacides. Now let's have a look at what happened in extra time.
South Melbourne won the toss. They're going from right to left, the end to which they scored that equalising goal. Melbourne Croatia kicking off though and into attack straight away. And there's Marth blasting one into Miki Peterson. That was coming at 1,000,000 miles an hour from about 4 metres, and Peterson is going to take all that character that Eddie Thompson talked about within him to come up after that, because that was hammered at him. It wouldn't have been too far away from the goal either. He wouldn't have had time to get out of the way of this, Peterson.
Melbourne, Croatia were dealt a pretty severe psychological blow with that last-minute equaliser. I mean, honestly, I've been in that situation, and from a player's point of view, you feel absolutely sick.
Bath catches Trimboldi, advantage is played. Palatsides. Solomidis helping out Hannah. Palatsides free. Who's in the box? Oh, Hannah prevented it from getting that far. Well, I think Eddie might know who Palatsides is now. If he was the invisible man, all of a sudden he's in the centre of attention. Only his third goal of the season, that equaliser. And two men couldn't keep him out of it here, but Hannah got back well.
The ball fell for him, and maybe could have cut that back to Salakis just a fraction earlier.
Mark Silic about to come on. They might as well wait till the half-time break, I think. They'll change straight over. Solomidis won that one. Playing time for that injury for Ricky Peterson early on.
And it's Branko Milosevic coming off. We were just talking about him being missing in action the last 20 minutes, half hour of this game, and Kenny Warden's obviously agreed with us.
This is not a bad move.
Silic is a little goer from what little I've seen of him, Peter. He's a player with a lot of potential.
A real goer, and I don't think he'll be overawed by the situation. He was very impressive against South Melbourne in round one as Branko Milosevic, to the warm applause of the Melbourne Croatia fans, sits down and Mark Silic comes on. He created a number of opportunities when he came on late in the game down at Middle Park and almost created the winning goal. I wonder if he can do it in the most important game of his life.
To date, that is.
Yeah. Postacoglu. A few players going up and down in the one spot at the moment. The wrestle on with fellow captain Biskic. The changeover now.
Will happen immediately. There's no break here.
Well, you can't help but think back to the preliminary semi-final in the 89-90 season. It was 1-1 at half-time between these two teams, 1-1 after extra time. It went to penalties and Melbourne, Croatia won 7-6. South Melbourne will kick off this time from left to right. Here's Silic, almost overbalanced again. Tries to take on Salakis, wins the free kick. He doesn't mind going around players. Sweeping away with it. Revitalised Postacoglu, and again he has to duel with the number 8, the skipper of the opposition.
Biskic has had a great match this afternoon.
Yeah, you can see why he's been voted as the most consistent player in the competition by a number of soccer publications.
Are they having a Joe Marsden medal for the player of the grand final this year, Peter?
Good question. I think so.
It'll be interesting to see who they decide is worthy of it.
Wade. Waiting behind Peterson. Blair calling for it on the far post. He goes Palatsides instead. Over the top from Taliadoris.
How close was that?
Trimboldi's bit of a limp.
Yes,
it's not the only one, but it could have been 2-1 to South Melbourne. Peterson picked out Palatsides. He's so good in the air, isn't he?
And Miller caught off his line, and Taliadoris unlucky not to get that one in the back of the net.
Solomidis cutting it out. Taken quickly by Postacoglu. Miller riding up on Salakis. It's a goal kick. Peter Salakis has been in the wars in the last few minutes.
Yeah, has he ever? And both times he's been clobbered by the keeper.
That's the end of 120 minutes. We're down to penalties to decide the 1991 NSL Championship.
Yeah, as I said before, Peter, an unfortunate way to decide a game of of this stature, but if it's good enough for the World Cup final, it's good enough for the Quit National Soccer League.
120 minutes of football, and there's some very tired boys out there, but now it's a penalty shootout.
Well, the peak of Miller's cap is taken out of the equation. He spins it around to face up to Paul Wade.
Be interesting to see which side he goes as well, because Wadey took one here a couple of weeks ago against Adelaide City. Normally goes to the right of the keeper.
Went to his left side that time.
Wadey must have been thinking about that television replay the other week where Miller had ample opportunity to see which way he puts the ball. Well struck here. Miller chose the right direction. Actually, it'll be interesting to see here, and we'll notice it from the replays, Peter.
George Hanna taking one for Melbourne, Croatia, and he puts it in. Be careful with that.
So I was saying it'd be interesting to see how often the keeper moves before the kick is actually taken. It's virtually impossible for a referee to police that with effect.
George Hanna scored once from the spot during the season, and that one put into the roof of the net. Trimboli now steps up for South Melbourne. He scored twice from the spot this season. He puts it wide. Well, the man who created the equalising goal misses his spot kick.
Yes, and it wasn't a near miss either.
So the advantage is now with Melbourne, Croatia, if Josip Biskic can put his away. McLaren got his fingertips to it. Too much power though from the captain. Melbourne, Croatia with the mini break, so to speak.
Well, that's the secret of these penalties, Peter. I think you have to pick a side of the keeper, and as long as you hit it with power, even as we saw there, McLaren got his fingertips to it but couldn't stop it.
Mike Peterson, he's just got to keep South Melbourne in it now. They missed one and it's just about out the door. Miller, the man of the moment.
That's it. I would say that it's all over for South Melbourne now.
Impassive is Ken Warden, not so the Melbourne Croatia fans. South Melbourne missed 2 penalties in a row. David Miller keeping out the spot kick of Mick Peterson. And now it's Andrew Marth. He scored the opening goal from double this distance. This should be a Donald. It's not. Oh, South Melbourne's still alive. Croatia lead 2-1. How the pressure can get to players. A little bit of a shimmy there from McLaren. I don't know if it threw Andrew Marth off. Joe Palatsides, his equaliser. Took this game to extra time. Can he keep South Melbourne in the hunt? He can't! They've missed 3 in a row!
I don't believe it. Well, Davo scores this one, it's all over. Sent the keeper the wrong way there and stopped by the woodwork.
The responsibility of winning the championship on the shoulders of Alan Davidson. I don't think you could ask for a better man in this situation.
He's a very confident player, Davo.
Oh dear, oh dear.
The tension's starting to build here now, Peter.
Davidson makes it 2 misses in a row for Melbourne, Croatia. South Melbourne have missed 3 in a row.
It's like Angie Postacoglu's got the next one, and he's normally very reliable from the spot.
2 posters in succession. You can't put the rebound back in, Davo, in this situation. So this is the last of the 5 And then it goes to sudden death. Postecoglou has to score this.
And hope Melbourne Croatia lose. This one, it's another.
The captain gets it in off the underside of the crossbar. They've levelled it up. Stepping forward. Oh, what a decision. Mark Silic.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see how if he becomes overawed or not. Good penalty there by Postecoglou.
Well taken. I think it did get underneath the crossbar without problems. It's the youngster, the 19-year-old Mark Silic. Can win the championship for Melbourne, Croatia.
Oh my word!
We go to sudden death at 2-2.
I wonder if any of the coaches practiced penalties during the week. Keeper was beaten all ends up there.
Well, the woodwork was rattled with monotonous regularity.
Yeah, they've certainly had a workout, hasn't it? Peter Salakis. A lot of pressure on here now into sudden death. Salakis must score this. That puts it all back onto Melbourne, Croatia.
South Melbourne now can win it. If Melbourne, Croatia miss, who's going to take the spot kick for the minor premiers?
They're having trouble making up their minds by the look of things. Good penalty there by Salakis.
It wasn't too far away from Miller, hit straight at him. It's going to be taken by
the
David
goalkeeper.
Miller.
This is very unusual. I've never seen this before, Peter.
Miller to keep Croatia in it. Oh, if anybody should know what a keeper does, a keeper should.
How confident was he though? Unbelievable.
Cool was that?
Actually, it's a good psychological ploy, that, because it'll certainly put the pressure on Danny Wright now as well, coming up to take this next South Melbourne penalty. Just put that ball down, didn't waste any time, and nearly broke the net with it.
He did. Now the Queenslander, Wright. He didn't strike it too well, but it's good enough. It dribbled into the net.
Keeper went the wrong way.
With the advantage. We're in sudden death. That means after the first 5 compulsory kicks, the first team to miss and the other team score, it's all over. South Melbourne have that 1-goal advantage. And Theo Salamides, in his 326th National League game, to keep Melbourne, Croatia level. Well, now they are right on song with their spot kick taking.
So what have we had, Peter? 4 apiece plus 3 misses apiece, so we've gone through
penalties.
7. It's Steve Blair by the look of things. Good penalty there by Salamides.
So, of course, if we go through all the players,
start again.
Rotation. A cracker of a finish to the grand final.
I think it's been a while since Stevie Blair's walked up to a penalty spot.
Playing his 310th National League game. Ference is enjoying it, I think. First smile we've seen from him.
I wonder how many of these he's been through in his life.
Oh, cool. Hits the back stanchion.
Very composed. Now, Melbourne, Croatia having trouble making up their minds who wants to take this next penalty. Good spot kick there from Blair. It's Kelic.
Ivan Kelic.
That cramp he was suffering during that period of extra time must be starting to play up in the back of his legs now. It's a hell of a long walk from the centre circle to that penalty spot.
And he's taken a long time to get there too. Scorer of 17 goals, 2 of them from the penalty spot during this season.
That's it.
South Melbourne, the National League champions for the second time.
Peter, they could have had all the knocks in the world this afternoon. They'd be out there running around with broken legs now.
Ferenc Puskas has done it all in the game of soccer, hugged by George Vasilopoulos, the South Melbourne president. 3 Greek championships, And now an Australian championship with South Melbourne. He won the cup with them last year, and now they are the cream of Australian soccer, the National League champions. Ken Warden comes over. The minor premiers beaten in a penalty shootout, 5-4. And I think it's been announced that Josip Biskic is the winner of the Best Player on the Ground award today, the Joe Marsden Medal.
Yes, I don't think there'll be anyone that disagrees with that decision, Peter.
It's going to feel a little hollow for him as he goes out to collect it. A last gasp equaliser in full time, taking it through to extra time, and in the penalty shootout, 5-4 to South Melbourne. And they are the National League champions for 1991. Congratulations to them. Commiserations, Melbourne, Croatia. We hope you've enjoyed the drama here from Olympic Park this afternoon. The champions in blue and white, South Melbourne. Goodbye.
Unbelievable!